Okay, so we're gonna jump on to the next slide. Okay, here we go. Oops. Okay, which one is bigger, 132 or the absolute value of negative 178? So 132 you can't do anything about. There's no absolute value. The absolute value of negative 178 is actually 178. So the answer will be the second one. This one's bigger. Next question is, which is smaller, negative 13, okay, which is negative value, or the absolute value of negative 48? So again, this becomes positive 48, okay, when you take the absolute value of it. So which one's smaller? The negative 13 is smaller. Okay. Next one, order numbers from least to greatest. So again, feel free to pause the lesson right now if you want to try this on your own, okay, or I'll just continue on. So when you're doing this question, what you want to do is rewrite each one of these without an absolute value. So 7.5 would just be 7.5. The absolute value of negative 8.2 is just 8.2. This stays as negative 3.4. This one is going to be 14.6. Negative 4.3 stays as itself. This becomes 6.7, and then you get 12.9. Okay? And again, from least to greatest, the least will be negative 4.3. This is negative, so negative 4.3. Next one would be negative 3.4. After that, you have, so these two are gone. Okay, after that, you have 6.7. 6.7, 1 second. 6.7. And then afterwards, you have 7.5. It's gone. And then 8.2. And 12.9. And then 14.6. Okay. So the second one, I'm just going to list them out. Okay, so again, this is 5.6, 2.1, 13.4, negative 20. Sorry, whoops. This becomes positive 24.5. 24.5. That's negative 12.3. 36.8, and then negative 25.9. So when I list them up from least to greatest, this is number 1, number 2, and after that, this will be number 3, and then this is number 4, this is number 5, number 6, and this is the greatest, number 7. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so this one here, you're given an equation, okay? The absolute value of x plus 3 is equal to 12. What are the possible values of x? Okay, so one way to do this question is when you look at absolute value of something equals 12, just think of it as, hey, this part over here could be positive 12, okay, or it could be the absolute value of negative 12 equals to 12. Okay, that's one way of looking at it. So what that means is x plus 3, so this part over here is actually x plus 3. So x plus 3 can be 12. So you do the math for this, so x can be 9. Okay? And then the second one is you have x plus 3, it could equal to negative 12. So you move the 3 to the other side, you get x plus 3 equals negative 15. Okay? So again, for this one, just remember that, hey, whatever is outside here on the right, the value inside could be the positive of that or the negative of that. Okay? And then when you do the algebra, you get 9 and negative 15. So the answer would be E. The other option is a lot of students would just guess and check. They would go absolute value of x plus 3 is equal to 12, and then we go, well 9 plus 3 is 12. So then they go x is 9, and then they would look at it and go negative 15 plus 3 is negative 12. So they would just come up with the answer right away. But if you use a little bit of algebra, it'll be quite straightforward as well. Okay. Next one. Which of the following equations will have no solutions? Now, when you look at an absolute value like x minus 5 is equal to 20, you know that this part is always going to be positive because you're taking the absolute value of it. And since this number is also positive, so when you look at the left side, you know that 25 works. So therefore, this will have a solution. But if I stick a negative sign in front, that means that, hey, this value is now negative. So if one side is positive and one side is negative, then you won't have any answers. Okay? So for A, you look at it, hey, x is 25, or it could be negative 15. So therefore, this one will have an answer. For B, because this is the absolute value of a value that's positive, and negative 7 is negative, therefore this one will have no solution. Okay? For C, you see how there's a negative 2 in front? You can divide both sides by negative 2. So you get x plus 3 is equal to 5. So therefore, since it's positive, it'll be okay. You will have a solution. For D, when you isolate the negative sign, it becomes absolute value of x minus 7 is equal to negative 13. So since it's negative, again, you will have no solution. Okay. For E, when you take the absolute value of negative 20, it becomes 20. And then so you have, again, same question as number for A. So therefore, this will have a solution. F, when you isolate the absolute value, it becomes absolute value of x equals to negative 5. So therefore, this one will have no solution. So the answers would be B, D, and F. Okay. Okay, so we'll continue. Just checking on my time. Okay, so with this next one. Okay, so if x plus 5 squared equals 289, what is the value of the absolute value of x? Okay. So feel free to pause this video and then continue on when you're done, okay? But I'm just going to continue doing this question here. So what you don't want to do is don't FOIL this. Like, for example, you have x plus 5 squared equals 289. So what you don't want to do is go x plus 5 times x plus 5 equals, because it'll be too much work. So instead, what I would recommend is where you would square root both sides. So you square root this side and you square root that side like that. Okay? So this becomes the square root of x plus 5 squared is actually equal to 17. Now, if you remember the second rule of what an absolute value is, the absolute value of x is equal to the square root of x squared. So if you look at this expression on the left, when you have like x plus 5 squared being square rooted, this is actually equal to the absolute value of x plus 5. That's what the definition is. So what I'm getting is the absolute value of x plus 5 is now equal to 17. Okay? So in general, I don't know if you remember learning math in grade 9, was that whenever you're given x squared is equal to a value, and you're told that you always have two answers, so x equals to plus or minus 3 after you square root them, again, the reason why is because of this rule. Because when you take the square root of both sides, square root here and square root that, the square root of 9 technically can only be 3. And the square root of x squared is actually square root of x. So therefore, you would have two answers, plus or minus 3, because of the absolute value property. So again, you get x plus 5 could be equal to 17, which gives you 12. And then x plus 5 can also equal to negative 17. So therefore, x equals to negative 22. So therefore, the answer will be E. Okay? Put a star on this page if you don't understand it. Feel free to email me if you're my student, and then I'll help you explain it again. Okay? This last one, it's about the about stocks and the use of absolute values. It's a bit of a stretch, and then as a teacher, you're actually not allowed to teach students how to invest in stocks. You actually need a license for that. So since I went over it with most students, during the online lesson, I'm just gonna skip this one just so that I don't get in trouble. Okay, so this is it. We're done.